and welcome to Seismic Soccer Episode 4, the Transfer Deadline Day Special. So I'm Colin with the screen name George Boateng. I'll probably mix that pronunciation up. I'm joined by James, whose codename is Shankland. How are we doing, James?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. Yourself?
You sure you're good? You sounded a bit angry this week.
We'll come to that, man. We'll come to that.
We've also got our regular co-host Paul, who is down as Robbo. How you doing, Paul?
Fantastic. Can't wait to hear James get angry. So, wasn't.
And we also have our Seismic Soccer regular, Gary, with the screen name of Callum McGregor. How are we doing, Gary?
Yeah, not bad. How you doing? Glad to be here.
All the better before seeing your screen name.
You deserve that, both of you.
And last but not least, we're joined by Sean from the Review It Yourself podcast, another member of the PodPack initiative. How are we doing, Sean?
Good, mate. I did not get the message about the usernames.
Sorry, that's our bad. Okay, so before we get into the episode itself, just a reminder that you can follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And you can also watch or listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of those other places. And we've had a pretty good couple of weeks, getting 5 or 6 extra subscribers. So if you're tuning in and you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us a like and subscribe and share with your pals. And you can also support Shankland and getting a new mic by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee page. And as I mentioned before, we shout out to the PodPack Collective, which features Chat Tsunami, Cast and Views, Review It Yourself, who we have with us, 2 Girls, 1 Reusable Cup, Nerdstalgic Podcast, and Stop, Drop and Roll Initiative. So everyone make sure you check out all those podcasts and get subscribing.
That was good.
Oh, thanks.
Buttery smooth.
Just hold off the tongue.
It'll only go downhill from here. So as we said, this is our 4th soccer episode. I think you'll all join me in saying it's a highlight of the month. I always look forward to chatting football. So we've got our topics down the bottom. We're going to look into playing out from the back and our views on that, Jose Mourinho's sacking, the shock departure of Klopp, and the at the moment quiet transfer window. Right. Oh, before we get into that, Sean, it's tradition that the guests give their own podcast a wee plug. So do you want to tell our listeners and viewers all about your show?
Oh, do I have to? Yeah, all right, fine. I hate this stuff. I'm Sean from Review It Yourself, the podcast with the sigh. No politics, no pandering, absolutely no point. Basically, it's just films. Me and a guest talk about films. That's about it, really. We're on YouTube. And not just gone on YouTube, and we're also on all the podcast platforms. It's the podcast virtually nobody's listening to. So, keep me afloat. A couple of listens here and there would help. There's not enough, boring, gruff, Northern English people on there. There's a lot of Scottish podcasts. I'm trying to rebalance it out, and there's a lot of American ones. So, go give it a listen. That's about it.
But to be fair, I heard your Strangers episode is an absolute banger.
Yes, it was. There was a bit of barking in the back of it, but it was a good one. It's a decent one.
I've silenced them.
And you also there's a really good episode about Batman you guested on as well. So there was that.
Of course.
Oh, self plug.
I still can't forgive Sean though for giving the Batman Robin 10 out of 10. That's unforgivable.
Yeah, many podcasters have not forgiven me for that one. We haven't. Yeah. Who knows? Right. That's where I'm going wrong.
So, Sean, you're up first. It's the guest always goes first. So, you've chosen your story. So, do you want to tell our listeners why you chose it and your views on it before we open it up to the rest of the team?
Yeah. So, I've picked the modern phenomenon of playing out from the back using the goalkeeper. So I'm going to get angry before James does. I absolutely despise it. and I can't swear, so you'll hear how inventive I can get with English. I absolutely, it makes me sick. Like there's no problem playing it if you've got a good enough team to do it. If you've got a world class goalkeeper, if you're Man City, I've been a bit sick in my mouth. I can't stand them. But if you're Man City, right? If you're them, you can do it. It works for you. It's fantastic. If you're a lowly flipping championship side like I follow, you don't have the players to do it. And if the goalkeeper was that good with his feet, he'd be playing outfield. He wouldn't be in goal. That's not his job to mess around, kicking the ball around. It's not his job. Stop putting the pressure on him. And it's led to more mistakes. I mean, in the FA Cup, we saw like League Two sides doing it. It's like, what are you? I don't understand. Like this phenomenon of how it's swept across football as if it's this magical thing. I mean, this season must have, and no, I haven't looked at the statistics on it because who has the time? But there must have been more mistakes in football this year from players passing out. I mean, you get taught it at 5 years old. There's certain things you don't do. Don't kick the ball back to your goalkeeper in between the posts. Don't play the ball across your own box. If in doubt, kick it out. These are things that used to be gospel because if not, they led to a lot of mistakes. And I'm just sick of seeing it. I'm sick of seeing it. We've been my team's been battered playing it a couple of times. And it's like, why are we doing it? If it doesn't work, get it changed. And hopefully that's all I've got to say. I just wanted to just vent. But I'm looking forward to getting into it because you guys might have a slightly more intellectual look on it than I do. I'm just fed up with it. I just think it doesn't work if you don't have the players good enough to do it. And it puts anyway, I'll keep going. Sorry, yeah, you guys jump in because I'll just keep moving.
So you're not a fan then, Sean?
Makes me sick.
I'm not going to lie, that took a turn because I thought Sean was going to champion it.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Right.
And I did find it quite funny. I was like, how did a Middlesbrough fan want to play it from the back? I doubt they play it silky smooth, playing it from the back.
I mean, it worked for us a bit last season. This year, not so much. Not so much.
Right, Paul, we'll come to you first then. What are your thoughts on the topic?
Well, like you were saying, Sean, if you've got the players that can play it from the back, then fantastic. Like I've been watching like some of the Tottenham games and stuff, and like they can play themselves out of some tight spots, like they're on their own corner flag and they're up the other end of the field just from playing out. But I was even watching the West Ham game tonight. They're playing Bournemouth, and they try to overplay at the back. Kurt Zuma played a square ball into his own box to Calvin Phillips, and Calvin Phillips passed it to Dominic Solanke, who just tapped into the net. So Calvin Phillips' first touch was an assist for a Bournemouth player. But like I was saying, if you got the players, fair enough, play it. Like if your team's set up with that system with the pacey players, go for it. But if you've got like a goalkeeper and two centre halves that are just there to win headers and they're trying to play it from the back, you're just going to cause yourself some problems. So, it's all about personnel, like you were saying. But yeah, I am a fan of it. I think it makes it more entertaining. But when you do see players making mistakes at the back like that, you're like, this is such schoolboy stuff. But when it works, it works. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. It's hard to.
It's unnecessary though, isn't it? It's like I understand. Like you're right. If it's the problem is the pace. If you don't have the pacey players, you can't do it. We could do it last year because we had some pace in the team. This year, not so much. And when you don't have that quality or pace, it's unnecessary. It's like unforced errors in tennis. I know we're not a tennis, like it's not a tennis podcast, but it's like that. It's like there's no reason for you to make those mistakes. And because it's right at the back, it's like you said about it's happened tonight. It's critical because you get goals from them. And you can't get away with it, and I don't understand. Anyway, yeah, but no, I agree. Sorry, anyway,
Paul, sorry, I couldn't resist booing when you mentioned Kurt the kicker Zuma. I've never forgiven that guy.
No, to be fair, I don't think the fans have in the crowd. I think every time he touches it, he gets a wee meow.
Oh, he angers me. Anyway, what about you, Gary? What's your views on playing out from the back?
So I think there's kind of two sides here. I think I would take it over just the ball getting launched from one end of the park to the other. Like I've seen some games in Scottish football over the years where you think like the ball's going to be in a coma for a week after this is done because it's just getting booted like up in the air all the time. And I don't think that makes for a good split. So I'm kind of with Paul that playing out the back I think is more entertaining than that, but there's probably somewhere in between. What I don't like is like centre backs that are just good at defending and goalkeepers that are just good at keeping the ball out of the net all of a sudden are kind of seen as, not as good in the modern game because they're not as good with their feet. They can't pass it out as well. Not that type of player, because I still think like fundamentally that's what your defender should do, and fundamentally that's what your keeper should do. So I was kind of probably where Sean was for a while. Like I thought, like just if you've got the players to do it, then do it and fine. But if you don't, then like just do what you need to do to get rid of the ball, kind of thing. But the only thing that sort of changed it was when Ange Postecoglou was manager of Celtic, we took a few scalpings in Europe, but playing quite well, but getting beat because we were trying to play that way, kind of attacking and building the play up from the back and sort of taking chances like with the ball on the deck rather than maybe just playing it safer at times. And he was asked why he plays that way, and he said, "Well, you won't learn anything if you just boot it up the park. Like this is the style we're trying to play, and if we just because we're up against a better team and we've not got the players to do it right now, like you're not going to learn to do it if you just don't do it when you come up against these better teams. So you need to make mistakes and you need to learn to play that way. And ultimately, so if you're trying to build a team to be a better attacking, more free-flowing kind of style of play, I guess that you playing that way, you have to let players make the mistakes and get caught out and all that to try and get better at it. So I kind of see that point of view as well. But I think there's kind of two extremes. I would take the playing out from the back over getting launched up the park. But I think there's somewhere in between where you can get defenders that are good at defending, keepers that are good at saving, and not much else, and they're still good players and should still be able to play for the top clubs. So, and it's become a bit of a fad now as well. I think everyone's kind of trying it, and it just seems like one of these things that everyone's trying to do because a few of the top teams done it. And yeah, like you say, it's the lower down you go in the kind of leagues and the teams that just doesn't work as successfully. So yeah, no, I get what Sean's saying.
Good, thank you, Gary. And last but not least, James, what are your thoughts?
I actually quite like the idea of playing it to the back. Over the years we've seen the lump it up the pitch, route one football and just trying to catch, second balls and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's 9 times out of 10 you're just giving the opposition back the ball. So it's about retaining possession and building out, just trying to create chances. If you're going to lump it up the other end of the pitch, then the chances are you'll retrieve the ball and attack your goal. So I do quite enjoy it. Like Gary says, and Paul, it's probably more entertaining that way. But I think it all depends on the team you play against as well, because obviously if you're playing for the back, some teams don't play the high press, so they allow you possession to come with the ball. Don't get me wrong, right? When Rangers do it, I'm like, we don't have the players, we don't have the PKs and all that stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's the thought of Ben Davies on the ball when he's playing for the back, scares the life out of me. But there's certain teams you can do it against. You know what I mean? But I think that's all about management as well. You just spoke about there, Gary, about being brave on the ball and taking scalpings in Europe. I don't know. I would rather prefer, playing that way and try and get the result. There's some games that you do want to do it in, and okay, sometimes it's not pretty, but sometimes you have to win ugly. But I do like it. It's better when you high for the beautiful game, isn't it? And then, I think that I've said enough, mate. I like it, and I think Sean's a wee bit, I don't know, a wee bit too passionate against it. I think he's maybe he's had too many doings, Middlesbrough, for us to come. I don't know, man.
Chelsea.
Fair. Well. I mean, I do. To be fair, I liked what Gary was saying. That to be fair, it's a high risk, high reward system. When it works, it really works. Borough did it last season. to very, very good effect. It was pacey football. We had the pace. We had players that we didn't. Players went back off loan, so we don't have the same team. So it has been a bit of a struggle. The Chelsea game, of course, it was probably always going to happen in that second leg. I think we all resigned ourselves to getting beat, even though we went into it with a 1-0 on aggregate. But the way we played, and you could see, I mean, we must have given them about 4 of them 6, and it was like this is the wrong. I think it works. I just think sometimes tactically it's the wrong decision, especially when you've got players that aren't set up to play that way. But when it works, it's very entertaining to watch. And yeah, they all lump it up the field. I mean, dear God, I've watched Tony Pulis and Warnock football, and I've seen that lump it up the field at a tall centre forward who's not even that tall. So I understand the pain of that. And I love a good whinge, but I think if you're not set up to play that way, then it won't work for you. And there's nothing wrong with doing a hybrid if you want to try it sometimes, but also try and go for something else, because it seems to be more of a negative or more like on the game than it is a positive in terms of the football that I watch. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of them things. I think defending in the Championship as a whole is horrendous anyway. So across the board. So maybe I have an issue with it. I probably have more of an issue with it in lower leagues. I probably should have explained that. I think when the teams are better, and it works for them, but it doesn't work most of the time when you just don't have the quality there. And yeah, I am probably a bit too passionate, but I wouldn't care if not.
I remember a quote from Sam Allardyce when he was the Bolton manager. I'm sure he was at the time, and he was asked about the silky football.
Get me a pint of wine. So.
And he was like, why don't you play this way? That's good football. And he goes, no, I play winning football. So in that case, at that time, he was just kind of Route 1 football, lumping up to the striker, and then it was just kind of like it was bullying defenders. Again, it works to a certain degree against who you play against. But teams who play this Route 1 football, technically, really what happens is that the strikers are like a different bloody postcode from the other players. Because all they're doing is lumping up. What ends up happening is the player ends up heading on to himself. I've seen it that many times. Whereas if you use this, play it to the back, the team are coming closer together, they're interchanging. It's just a lot kind of sexy, I suppose, on the pitch.
The other thing I was going to say is I don't know if I'm thinking about it like Celtic, my team. I don't know if I would want. I would much prefer my team to play that passing out for the back type football than anything else, because the other thing I'm thinking of is like if most teams play that way, then it impacts like when you think of young players coming through and things like that. That's what they'll be taught to do as well. And you want players that are technically able to take the ball in tight spaces and pass the ball when there's players around them and build for the back and play that way rather than just lump it. So I think overall, if more teams are playing out for the back, even if some are shit at it, it's probably a better place to be than sort of a team full of or a league full of Sam Allardyce teams, I would say.
There's no coincidence, is there, that the fact that Scotland, haven't been in major tournaments for so long, because that was the style pretty much all Scottish football teams adapted. Do you know what I mean? It was adopted rather. It was the lump up the pitch, it's the mentality of, I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, so I can win the ball off you. That's you know what I mean? And now we're starting to kind of catch up the rest of European world football, I think. You know what I mean? That's my opinion anyway.
No, I think you're right. I think when you see as well, like more Scottish players are going to like leagues like Serie A and things like that now, and like years ago, I don't think they'd have been able to handle it like technically there. So we're obviously like that's feeding down into sort of youth setups and stuff. You'd like to think, but
okay. So I got a few comments from people on social media. There was a Lord Joey Fitz. Said they're a Villa fan, and going from Gerrard, who knows how we play style, to Emery playing from the back is wonderful. Used to dread seeing the ball at our defenders' feet. but with the right system, playing it out from the back can be the best way to control a game. So Lord Joey was a big fan of that. So
I think that's Joey from the video game club.
And sorry, Gary, on you go.
Sorry, I was going to say another thing. Do you want to read out that comment first, and then I'll make my point? Or...
Yeah, it was just a Project Football podcast that we've had on before. Said risky for sure if you don't have the right skill set, as we've been saying. First saw it at West Brom under Darren Moore. The playing out from the back, and it seemed like a breath of fresh air, having suffered the likes of Pulis, who gets a second mention, and Alan Pardew previously. So that was Project Football podcast, good friend of the channel.
The only thing I was going to say was playing out for the back doesn't always mean entertaining. And again, I'll use Celtic as an example. Rodgers is a playing out for the back kind of manager, and our football has been dreadful all season. So boring to watch. Passes it out, it goes side to side and back the way and side to side. It's playing out for the back, but it's not dynamic. It's not entertaining to watch. So I think there is a bit of a kind of misconception that playing out for the back always means great to watch. And I can tell you, it does not mean great.
It's playing out from the back, but not going forward very fast.
Well, I would have thought it meant, like, rather than the keeper kicking it out, it's like the defender builds a play from the back and it goes up. But if it's, I don't know, like in Celtic's case this year, it's really, really slow. Like, so it's playing out. The keeper will pass to the full back, he'll pass to the centre back, he'll pass to the midfield back. That's what I took it, I mean. But
that must be so much noticeable more so after Ange Postecoglou leaving too, after the fast pace.
Oh, it's terrible. Like, yeah, I don't know whether it seems worse because like it's following that, but it's not been good to watch at all. Even though I would call it playing out for the back. It's not entertaining. No one's entertained by it.
It can be tough, can it, to watch? But I must point out that the comments I make, you know, the Chelsea game. God, look who you're playing. But in terms of like De Boer and Michael Carrick, it's not a criticism of his managerial style. It's not a criticism of what he chooses to play. I mean, I would sometimes have a bit of a whinge, but I think overall, it's nice for the Borough to have the last couple of seasons to finally have an identity in terms of, I might not 100% agree with the football that they're trying to play all the time. There's at least an identity to the football that we're watching, because we had so many years where, you know, as excuse me, as Gary was saying, where we were just trying to lump the ball up. You know, there was a striker in another flipping postcode, which I love that phrase. I'm stealing it. And you were thinking, what on earth are we doing here? This is awful. So at least now the Borough have a bit of an identity, and you know, it worked really well for us last year. We had a hell of a season. This year, you know, I mean, I hate using injuries as an excuse, but I would say they have been a big factor for us. You know, we had a decent cup run. I don't think we'll get into the playoffs. Frankly, I think we'll just miss them. But there's always that hope there, and at least, you know, it's enjoyable to watch majority of the time. I just sometimes when, you know, the teams don't come out to meet you, that watching that trying to play out from the back is so frustrating. And then the last 10 minutes you start attacking and you think, where's this been for 80 minutes? But it's just been a bit of a frustrating season, really. But you know, it's the same with all of you. You know, all of you guys. You know, you have a bit of a whinge. You know, that's the thing with football. You either come out of it enraged or you come out of it thinking that was beautiful. And you know, let's face it, we all support teams where I think we appreciate the win. You know, I don't know what it'd be like to support a team that won every week. It must be boring, but yeah. So I just thought I'd have to say that because I don't want anyone to listen and be like, oh, you just, you know, it's like here I've watched enough boring football. I'm a season ticket holder. I know I've watched enough of it to know that yeah, this system, although I'm not like a massive fan of it, it can work. I just think that everybody taking it on board like a bit of a fad, I think is a mistake. I think people should look at the players they've got and think, right, is this system best for us? Because there's different systems to play than lumping it up or coming out from the back. I don't really know tactics, but I think there's definitely different things you could do. That's all.
Cool. Right, we're going to pivot slightly. So, Sean, you're first up for the tenable challenge. I stole the idea from Paul. It's got absolutely nothing to do with playing out from the back, but some of them do match up to the people. So,
and I stole it from the Flat Chat YouTube channel.
So, did you say, Colin, we are that?
What?
Did you say that?
What did I say?
I thought you said we are the people.
No. Right. So, Sean, your challenge is, and hopefully you've
Right.
got a bit of paper there, or you can just say them. Actually, just say them. Probably that's probably easier. So you've got 10 name. Basically, you're going to name 10 footballers, and I'm going to see how many you can get right. And I thought it'd be fun. Each of you are going to have a wee challenge, and we can see who gets the best score at the end. Some of them are slightly easier than the others, but we'll just see how it goes. So, Sean, your challenge. So, tenable number 1. How many of the top 10 World Cup all-time goal scorers do you think you can name? So, I'm talking about at the actual World Cup finals. So,
Can I go get my dad because he'll win at this? I'm not
No.
this guy.
no, you're allowed 10 goes. I'll count them on my fingers how many you get right, and I'll tell you if you got one wrong. So, we'll need to do it quite quickly so we all get through our challenges. So,
No
you got
pressure.
a first name for me?
I'll go. Yeah, okay, I'll go.
You
Pele.
get 10 attempts, and then you get a score out of 10, depending on how you got on.
All right, yeah, go on then. I'll go. Pele.
Right,
Gary
we'll do
Lineker.
we'll do one at a time, or
all.
I'll lose track. So,
Yeah,
Pele,
go on,
so that's a
Yeah.
point. Okay, he's joint 5th. Gary Lineker is joint 10th, so I'll include that. Okay, so you're 2 up.
Jack Charlton
There is no Jack
or Bobby
Charlton.
Charlton. Bobby Charlton.
There's no Bobby Charlton either, so that's 4.
Oh Jesus. Oh God, what's his face?
I'll give you a clue, Sean. He's not English.
Maradona.
Let's see.
I love
No,
James's little hand thing. Oh,
Maradona's not on the list now.
I'm glad.
So that was 6.
Oh God, I wish I'd had a chance to think about this. Okay, not English.
More fun. That's more fun this way.
There's more
Yeah.
teams in England. God damn it.
I watch England. Would you expect of me? I'm not used to top goal scorers.
We're the
There'll
greatest
be
player of all time.
Brazilians in there somewhere.
You've got 4 more attempts.
Argentinians.
Oh, yeah, this isn't your question.
Sorry.
No, it's not my question.
No, it's Sean's
I got a
question.
I'm gonna clue.
You get 4 more goals.
When you start,
I would give
Alright,
you 2 Argentinians in there, surely.
So
Possibly a German.
You get Pele and Gary Lineker.
Oh God, is that all I've got? Oh, that's embarrassing. I should have explained. I'm a Borough fan. I love football, but this is not. I'm not a data person. Hang on. Oh, there's got to be Lewandowski, maybe. I don't know. Nah,
Nope.
not him. That's
So
ridiculous.
you get 3 left.
Gert Muller. No, I don't know.
Okay, so,
Yes, that's 3.
My dad will kill me.
He's 3rd, so you get 2 left.
Christ. Right, where else? To play football?
Gary, James, and Paul, no laughing here. You've still got yours to come.
right, okay. Probably gave us the hardest one right now.
Oh God.
2 left.
Right. Just anybody listening, just entertain yourselves. Right. What? God.
No, I think he's won.
I didn't even get out. Sorry, wait. What'd you say?
You said,
Paul,
oh God.
you
I don't
need
know.
to
I
edit-
said, I don't think
Edit
he's
a
won.
timer in here, I think, Paul.
Yeah.
What about that AK-47 that plays for like Cape Verde or something?
Right,
I've
Sean,
been
the
there. It's a
clock's
beautiful
ticking.
place.
Let's get
We're
2 names
the
out.
greatest of all time. Messi.
James,
I
this
don't-
isn't
where?
your go.
Sorry.
Ronaldo. I don't know. Ronaldo's got to be one, surely. I
Which
don't know.
one?
Cristiano. Or the little fat one. Sorry, no, you're getting the other one. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry to any Brazilian fans.
I'll
I am
give
actually
you-
a bit, I'm aware myself. I can say it.
Right. I'll give you R9. So you get 4 out of 10. There you go.
I'll take that.
Right, so I'll just tell you the list. So Klose is first with 16 and 24. Ronaldo's
Yeah.
second from Brazil. Muller's third. Just Fontaine of France and Messi are joint, but I'm not giving you Messi because James shouted that out.
It's all right.
Pele and Mbappe
Sorry.
are next,
Oh, yeah.
both on 12 goals. And then Coxis from Hungary and Klinsmann are on 11. and then there's quite a few on
Klinsmann,
10.
that's what I was trying to think of. Oh, he's just died
Is Matt
as
Stewart
well.
on that list?
There's quite a few on 10. There's a guy called, I think it's Ran from Germany. There's Lineker. There's Batistuta. Kubelis from Peru. Thomas Muller, and I think it's Lato from Poland. They're all in 10. Okay, so was that 4? Sean got 4, was it?
Sean, did you say Klinsmann died?
Yeah, didn't
Died.
yeah,
He
didn't
dived.
he just no died? Didn't he just die recently? Oh no, who am I thinking of?
No.
Nah, man, he's still alive.
Oh well, I'm just having a fantastic night, Anna.
No,
Dive
it was
would be
the,
more-
it was the Kaiser that died.
Yeah, Beckenbauer, yeah. How many
Oh,
would
sorry,
you have got
yes,
out of
sorry,
interest?
sorry, it was.
James, Paul, Gary, how much do you reckon you would have got out of 10?
Oh,
think I would-
definitely one.
I don't think I would have got the Polish boy.
There's a few there. I would have got some of them. I think
There's more than 10 names there, but it's because like there was like 5 people who got 10s. So right,
I got closer.
right, Gary, you are next up with topic 2.
Yeah, no worries. So topic 2 is Jose Mourinho. So you'll all have seen that he got sacked at Roma this month. So that's him being sacked from Roma, sacked from Spurs, sacked from Man United, and sacked from Chelsea in the last sort of few jobs that he's had. So I thought we'd talk about that and sort of where that leaves him. Because I think like Jose Mourinho, he kind of splits opinion. Like a lot of people love him, and then other people sort of hate him for a few reasons. And but he's obviously been like one of the most you got to say like iconic managers of the last sort of 15, 20 years, and almost like one of the faces of football. In terms of like, you know, some of the sort of achievements he's had. He's kind of looked up before this. He's won 26 major trophies in his career, but only one of those is in the last 7 years. And obviously, kind of the last few years, he seems to have. I think there was a point where Jose Mourinho, if you appointed him, it was almost guaranteeing you like success or like trophies, because that's what he did, and he sort of done it everywhere he went. And even like looking back on like Man United and his time at Man United and stuff, he still won trophies. But and he won the Conference League with the Europa Conference League with Roma as well. So still has been winning trophies, but at the top level, it feels like he's kind of done. And I think that football has probably passed him by a bit. I think he was really successful with a certain style of play and a certain style of management and how he got the best out of players. And I think like the way the modern game has sort of evolved, it's probably evolved to sort of counter tactics like Mourinho. I think so. I don't think like the way he plays is really going to win him anything at the top level anymore. I don't think the modern player really responds to a character like Mourinho anymore, whereas like back in especially like his first stint at Chelsea, like some of the players then just seemed like they're from a different era now. So I don't think we've seen the last of Mourinho. I think you'd probably see him pop up in international football or something like that, but it feels to me like getting sacked for Roma is probably the end of him at the very top level as a club manager. I'm not saying he won't pop up as a club manager, but I don't think any top team in any top league will touch him now, because it seems like, let's say, he's probably the game's just passed him by a bit. So I'd be interested to hear if you all agree with that, or if you think that he's got a big job left in him.
I'm just disappointed in Colin. The fact he didn't write on the bottom Mourinho's dry spell, because that's clearly what he's in. So
yeah.
Gary, you forgiven him for Seville yet?
No, so I should have said, like I was saying, people are split on Mourinho. I hated Mourinho for years. I fucking loathed him because the way that his Porto team behaved in that UEFA Cup final was like just the worst time wasting tactics and diving tactics I've ever seen in my life.
Is that the one where he was running up and down the touchline? Was that game where he was running up and down the touchline? Oh, it was embarrassing.
I think that was
that's
a
not
Man
narrowing it
United
down.
game. I think when was that not when Porto put Man United out the Champions League? I think. Yeah. It was because Ferguson, I think, reacted to it. But yeah, so what I thought was Sean is Celtic got to the UEFA Cup final and played Mourinho's Porto. This was the season before Porto won the Champions League, and Porto won 3-2, but at the end it was like the slightest touch they were rolling around as if they'd been shot, trying to waste time because it was like it was an extra time. So it was just some of the tactics were just terrible, like the play acting and stuff. So for years I hated, and I didn't really particularly like him at Chelsea as well because I thought, like, for all the money that they were spending, I thought the football could have been a bit more expensive. Although I kind of recognised that he obviously was good at winning, and you can't really take that away from him. But I've got to say, as the years have gone on, I've kind of probably changed a little bit. I think when he stopped winning as much, I started to feel a bit sorry for him. It's kind of like watching a boxer coming to the end of their career and like taking a bit of a beating, like when they used to be great. It's kind of almost something like sad about it, like to watch like someone who used to sort of be such a winner, sort of not be anymore and just lose the dressing room pretty much everywhere he goes. Although that didn't happen at Roma, but no, I wouldn't say I'll ever fully forgive him for Seville, to be honest.
I must admit I loved them at Chelsea. I really loved that team with Robin and Duff on the wings and Makalele and
Johnson,
Carvalho, like Peter Cech. It was a great team. Just thinking about those times, like they were really good times in football because obviously that was the season Porto and Monaco got to the Champions League final, wasn't it? And a Dado Perso inspired Monaco when it was at 8-3 against Deportivo or something mad like that in the semi-final. And then he won the title twice with Chelsea, didn't he? Then he won the Champions League with Inter Milan against, was it Bayern Munich?
Yep.
Then Real Madrid, it was kind of mixed success, wasn't it? But then he won. What did he win? He won the league with them, didn't he?
Yeah, he won La Liga, and I think, am I right in saying he got like 100 points or something like that? And that was up against a really good Barcelona team as well.
And he's the only manager to win like the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he done that with Roma.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think he's probably done as like a big club manager, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop up as you mentioned, as the Portugal manager at some point, because I think he's probably always wanted to give that a go. Although, just to quickly jump into a comment that we got on social media, it was a bit ludicrous, but where was it? Mail Sport were saying that Mourinho is eyeing a return to Manchester United. So I don't see that happening. But
I think that's true, right? And I think that's actually been talked about.
Really? I'm sure. I would have thought so.
I think he's angling for a way back, eh?
And Bro Migos podcast just posted a picture of him saying something. I can't really see half of it's hidden, but it's like, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. And Project Football Cup podcast said, call it a day regarding club management, possibly get one last run at international level. So similar thoughts there from Project Football.
I actually quite liked Mourinho as a character. Like his interviews were always interesting. Like, I always had, like, if somebody was like sarky to me, it was a bit sarky back. And then when I watched the Tottenham All or Nothing series on Prime, I actually quite liked him as well. He seems to be different behind the scenes than he is in front of the cameras, which I quite liked. He seemed to have a soft side. And I was listening to
sorry, I wasn't expecting that.
Scott McTominay on the High Performance podcast, and he was talking about Mourinho, and he was saying how like kind of personable he is, and like if he ever needed it, and like Mourinho was always there for him, and if like even when he was leaving and that, he's like, see if you ever need it, and just give us a call and that. Don't worry, like always be there at the end of the phone for you and all that kind of stuff. So I think he is a wee bit different from what he is in the cameras. He's not like as arrogant maybe, but I do what you see what you're saying. Like he's had a couple of jobs now where it's not kind of worked out from like Tottenham. I think it was just the beginning of the downward spiral. But I think that does that to a lot of people. I think the only Postecoglou now is actually getting something out of them. But yeah, I think, like I said, Portugal. Who is the Portugal manager now? Is it Martinez? No,
that's Belgium. Wait, it might be Martinez actually.
I think it is Martinez. He left Belgium.
I think Belgium left him. So to be honest, I would take Mourinho over Martinez. I don't really rate Martinez as a manager at all, but I'd give him a shot.
I think you're right, Paul. Let's see the likes of Drogba and Frank Lampard. Like, I think they viewed him like as a like the Man United players did by Ferguson, like a kind of father figure, and they were like fiercely loyal to him.
Mm-hmm. I think if you can get someone like that you run through bricks from, and I think like you're saying, like Lampard, Drogba, and all that, like they're phenomenal for Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a hell of a team. I think I like Mourinho. I like Mourinho. I think he was always better when he was, when he was at Chelsea and he was a bit more positive. I think seeing him being miserable and mourning all the time, it wasn't as fun as it had been, especially for Man United. Although, I mean, he's not the only one.
James enjoyed that.
I've quite a bit of respect for him, to be fair, but I think if only because Middlesbrough beat them 3-0 in 2006, and I think it was like at the time it was, I think, the joint heaviest loss they'd ever had. And he was very much just like, look, you have a bad day, and Middlesbrough deserved it. They played better than us, essentially. So I thought, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I mean, if you're playing as well as them, it didn't matter. But I do like the guy. I think it. We'll have to see. I don't think he's done, but I think he's had a rough couple of years, I think. But back to Man United, who would want to go back there? That is, I genuinely think it's a position challenge for any manager, because it's not the managers that are the problem. Frank, well, I mean, I don't know what the problem is, but
James is our resident expert in Manchester United. James, so what's your thoughts on old Jose?
Well, on Jose Mourinho, I think obviously
you must have mixed feelings because you love Chelsea so much as well.
Well, I'm a Chelsea fan when it comes to English football. I thought his first stint at Chelsea was brilliant. He brought players in. I think he changed the league to a certain degree. And then obviously he left. Where did he go after at Chelsea? Was it Real Madrid, wasn't it? I think he won all he could with Real Madrid.
Was it not Inter Milan?
As in Inter and anyone.
Inter Milan. Aye. But he came back to English football. I was disappointed, obviously, when he actually went to Manchester United. Do you know what I mean? Because
he wasn't the right choice, was he? He just wasn't the right choice for that, James. It's Man United don't play the kind of football like Chelsea will take a 1-0 win. Man United fans, they won't take it. They wanted that kind of attacking. It wasn't the right choice. I don't think.
No,
sorry, anyway, go on.
No. I think I can't give two monkeys at Manchester United, to be honest with you. But whether or not it's the right choice or not, he made them a worse team, didn't he? So I was quite happy with that. Although, to be fair, he did win them the Europa League, did he know?
He did. So I was going to ask, see, in hindsight, no, I mean, ever since Ferguson left, Man United has been a total basket case. But in hindsight, did Mourinho actually do a better job than everyone gave him credit for? Because he got them to second, which I don't think they've came second since, or have they? Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember.
Did you not say that was like one of his best achievements?
Yeah,
with that team.
As well. Yeah,
he said with that team, didn't he? Which made me laugh because he was right.
Yeah.
He was right.
I actually think hindsight, knowing what you know about like how Man United are such a shambles behind the scenes and stuff, I don't know if he did as bad a job as people maybe said he did.
I'd agree, and I think that Mark Goldbridge, it does like
I love
like
watching him. He's hilarious.
Yeah, I like his wee clips in that. And I think he did a poll recently, and I think 52% of Man United fans on his stream said they'd take Mourinho back, and he couldn't believe it because he doesn't think Mourinho is the way forward. But would you take Mourinho ball where it's not pretty to look at, but you might start winning things over Ten Hag, where you've not really got a style and it's just an absolute shit show?
Yeah, it's a mess, isn't it? I mean, I think sometimes you can, as a football team, you can look backwards too much, and it very rarely works when you go back to a manager that you've had before. It's like every time the Borough go for a new manager, or like a manager leaves or whatever, everybody always brings up Karanka, and it's like, that was years ago, and do you not remember how it ended? Like what? And so I think Man United, but I'm surprised 52%. That's mental. I don't
know how many people on the stream though. I think he gets quite a few thousand on the streams right now.
Yeah.
It's
a
big percentage.
So can I say something? Sorry, I think we forget the circus act that follows Mourinho as well. You know, he seems to be bigger than the club, but sometimes it seems, and I always remember as well remember when he was at Real Madrid and he pokes his Tito Villanova in the eye when he was the manager, and then he's just got this kind of pettiness about him that it's just kind of started to kind of, well, it's always there, I suppose. But,
have you ever seen? Sorry, James. Have you ever seen the clip of him when he was trying to get past the paparazzi and he went to those like rope things you get and he tripped over it? If you've not seen that clip and you want a bit of a laugh seeing somebody fall over, yeah.
But then there's the game after the Europa League final. Was it last year against Sevilla? He was waiting for the referee outside the car park and that. So it's just like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't accept defeat. I don't know if he's past it. I think there's still one club in him somewhere in England, and I hope it's Man United again.
Well, let's revisit this in a while, and we'll see. We'll maybe revisit this one further down the road. So, Gary,
one last question: would you take him at Chelsea again, James?
No,
even as bad as things are just now.
I think it can't get any worse than it, to be honest with you. I don't think Pochettino's the answer either, to be honest. But I don't know. Mourinho could get any better for this squad of players, I don't think, because it's a different style of management, I think, and like you said earlier on, Gary, I mean, it's players don't respond to that anymore. I think there's kind of that day's by, so I don't think I really want them back. He's already had 2 stints. It's time to move on.
Right. Okay, Gary, are you ready for your challenge now?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Right. So the Man United fan said 52%. Let's see if you can get more than 52%. I would argue yours is slightly easier than Sean's.
That's what I like to hear.
So, Paul, could I ask you to do me a favor here?
Yes.
Can you count on your fingers, because it was hard to track both the last time? Can you count how many guesses Gary has? And I'll count how many he gets right.
Sure.
Right. So, Gary, yours is top Premier League goal scorer. So that's like since the Premier League started.
92?
So,
is that 92 it started?
Yeah.
Right. Just go.
Middlesbrough FC were a founding member. Just saying.
So Paul's going to count how many
United
guesses.
Were not. Sorry, go.
Hey, Gary, what's your first guess?
Alan Shearer.
Yep, Shearer has 260 goals in 441 games.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane is second. You're on a roll. 213 in 320 games.
Wayne Rooney.
Oh,
no.
I better just pack up. Yeah, it is, but I should just pack up and go home now. 208 in 491.
Andy Cole.
Andy Cole, yep, 187 and 414.
You look disappointed that he's getting these, by the way.
I am. I wanted him to struggle. Oh, stalling now. You don't have to get them in order, by the way. Just get get 10 that are in the top 10, or as many in the top 10 as you can. Robbie Fowler is number 8, 163 and 379.
Frank Lampard maybe in there.
Frank Lampard is 6 with 177 and 600. He's smashing it.
Van Nistelrooy? No. Okay.
How many guesses? Is it 7? 3 left.
Is like Kevin Phillips there?
Nope.
No.
Don't be daft. Don't be daft.
No, he scored a legend.
Oh, he started off so well.
Mike Owen?
Nope.
Drogba?
Nope.
10 and out.
So what did he get?
Can I have a guess? I think I've got one. Is it Sutton? Chris Sutton, is he one of them?
No, and he will not be mentioned on here again.
No.
Sergio Aguero.
Paul got Aguero. Paul got Aguero. Listen to Aguero's stats, by the way.
Henry. Oh, I can't believe I forgot Henry. Surely Henry.
Listen to Aguero's stats. 184 and 275. It's mental. Henry is 7th with 178 and 258. There's still 2 more.
Van Persie?
Nope.
No.
Sheringham, no.
Nope.
Massimo Maccarone.
No, one's quite a recent one.
Nelson Macaroni.
They've recently joined the top 10 club. One of them.
Haaland.
Recently joined.
No. He joined the 50 club, not the 100 club.
Salah.
Right, one of them. What? Yeah, Salah's 10, 153, and his score is good. 153 and 251.
Torres.
No, not Torres. The last one is one of our own, James.
James Tavernier.
No. Who says Tavernier?
You know?
So I know you said.
Man, this is
One of
so
our own.
obvious.
You play for Rangers.
Aye.
Oh, Gerrard.
No.
Michael Beale.
You've not got it now.
Debo.
I think.
Jermaine Defoe.
Oh,
I don't know if I do that. Actually. I knew he scored a lot of goals, but I didn't think-
162 and 496. So that's the top 10.
all right.
That was alright.
Did Gary get sick?
You do that,
Oh.
mate.
I thought
I
it
was.
was.
You told me I can't how many guesses
Right.
he did. I didn't
Three,
count how many fucking points he got.
Four,
You should be taking them off, mate, as you get some
I
right.
think you got 5. Is that right?
No,
you
you got
get
more.
Shearer.
You tell us.
I think I gave
I
Shearer,
think he got-
Shearer,
I think he got more
Kane,
than me.
Shearer, Kane, Rooney, Cole. Did you get Lampard?
I said
Yeah.
Lampard. I said Shearer,
So
Kane,
Lampard
Rooney,
and
Cole, Lampard.
okay, you get 6 then.
Yeah.
Right. So Paul, you're up next.
Oh, my topic. Aye. You're not going to intro me or nothing. Everybody else got intros, and I get nothing.
Nah, I'm taking the scaffolding away.
Oh, right. Anyway, so my wee section is. Don't know why I'm doing it right enough because I'm more on the blue side of Merseyside. On Jurgen Klopp announcing his leaving at the end of the season. So on the 26th of January, he announced his leaving at the end of the season. I was actually quite shocked. My phone was dinging away, a live score, Sky Sports News, dinging away saying Klopp leaving. And I was like, this is probably some joke or something. This isn't it. This can't be right at all. And I went into it and I was like, Jesus Christ. Just came out totally blue. It was like mid-morning and then just wasn't expecting it. So I think that morning he did a 25-minute long interview, I think it was. And basically he was saying that he was running out of energy. I think he just wanted to take a break at the end of the season. He just couldn't do it anymore. Just the constant like press conferences, game after game, just the whole kind of rigmarole of it all. So yeah, he decided to jack it at the end of the season. He also says he's never going to manage in the Premier League again unless he went back to Liverpool, which I think is quite a nice sentiment, I'd say. Until Chelsea come in with 100 million and be like, "Yeah, do you want to do this?" And he'll be like, "Aye, all right, why not?"
Did he actually say that he would go back to Liverpool?
He said if he was ever to go back to the Premier League to manage, he would go back to Liverpool. So in terms of this season, I think they're still in all 4 competitions. So still 4 trophies to play for.
The Europa League, not the Champions League, obviously.
Aye. And so I don't know how it would go. I think maybe this could be like an absolute masterstroke where because he's announced he's leaving and everybody loves him so much that they're just going to give like 110% for like every game now to win these 4 trophies for him. I think it could push them over the edge just to kind of win the Premier League and that. I seen them last night against Chelsea. Sorry, James. Absolutely tanked them, but I think Chelsea could have had a couple of penalties in there which might have changed the game.
Mm-hmm. There was that.
So
What a shame.
Klopp's record in all competitions is 466 games. He's got 283 wins, 105 draws, and only 78 losses, which I think overall is a 60% win percentage. In his tenure, in his time at Liverpool, he won 7 trophies. He won a Champions League, UEFA Super Cup, a World Club Cup, a Premier League, a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, and a Community Shield. So he's pretty much won one of everything that you can win in club football with Liverpool. So let's see, what did I write down? So his Premier League percentage is 62% over 278 games. I actually thought he'd been there longer than 278 games, but so his 1% is 62%. Comparing that to Sir Alex Ferguson, who's got a 65%, but that's obviously over like a lot more games. I think it was 810 games that Sir Alex Ferguson was in the Premier League. And then old Pepe boy, Pep Guardiola, he's 73% over 250 games. But, you know, he's got Kevin De Bruyne, so he's going to win like all those games. We should do a segment on Kevin De Bruyne one day because he's frighteningly good.
Who's going to tell you on, by the way?
I think it might be me. I'm sorry. What's on? Any good? No. And then we're talking about Jose. Jose had a 60% win rate over 363 games, so he's by no means a slouch when it comes to these. So I'm just going to see what you boys thought. Like, where does Klopp rate in the Premier League all-time greats? Because, like, when you think of it, it's like Sir Alex Ferguson, Pep. Then do you think Klopp kind of jumps in there at that all-time greats? And I'll go to Colin first since he's hosting, and I'll be back after I turn my TV off.
You asked Colin first last time.
You're never going to live that down, are you? First of all, I don't know if Paul can hear me, but I'm very impressed with all the stats. I don't know where you pulled them from, but that was very good. I'm also wondering, do you think he'll do a Jordan Belfort at the end of the season? I'm not leaving after they win the league.
I'd love to hear him do it, though. I'd love to hear him do that speech, especially with his accent. I'd love it.
So sorry, Paul, when you went away, I praised your stats, and I wondered if he was going to do a Jordan Belfort and announce at the end of the season that he's not leaving. I didn't really answer the question. I didn't really answer the question, though. So what was the question?
Where does he rate in the all-time Premier League greats? Or even if he does he or doesn't he?
I think he's been great, but at the end of the day, he has only won one league, and it was during like COVID years. I was going to say COVID years don't count. I was like, that kind of backfires on my own team. It's a bit of a shame for both Gerrard at Rangers and Klopp at Liverpool that they didn't have any fans about when they were winning the trophies. I think he has done a great job, obviously, in terms of bringing Liverpool back, winning the league, winning the Champions League, and they've got a good chance of being successful this year. But I don't know if he's had the success that maybe others have had, like your Guardiolas, like your Fergusons, Mourinho's, who won multiple leagues. So obviously he's a great manager. He's done great things at the club, but I don't think he's maybe got the sustained success. Because was it last season they were awful for like? Was it last season they were awful for like the first half of the season and they were like mid-table?
They didn't even finish. They were never in the top four at any point last season.
And I feel like if he wasn't as likable as he is, then other managers would have maybe been sacked last season when they were really struggling. So I think he's done a great job. I think he's had his down points as well, but I just don't think he's won maybe enough of the big trophies to be considered in the kind of conversation. But you guys might think differently.
Yeah, well, I was quite surprised he only won one of everything. I thought he won a couple of other things, but it was just one. But, you know. What about you, James?
I'm just saying, Collins thinks he'd be a wee bit harsh. I think that, you said you might have been sacked. Collins Rosen.
No, I just mean like see another manager at another club in a similar, like see if he was the Chelsea manager and he'd been mid-table, he probably would have got sacked. Do you know what I mean? I think Liverpool are maybe a bit more forgiving.
Chelsea are kind of unforgiving in that sense. I think Klopp still had no credit in the bank. I mean, he got into the Champions League final, he won it. Did not win the World Cup as well. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah. So
does that really count as a? Do we really consider the World Club Cup and stuff like a big thing to win?
Do you get a big shiny thing at the end of it?
I know, but in reality, is it really one of the most like sought after trophies? Like, or is it just like an after success of the main success?
Well, Colin, see if Rangers were playing in the final for it, would you be that bothered by it, or would you really want to win it?
It depends whether we were recording a podcast that night.
You would want to win it. Yeah.
Anyway, when I heard the news, you know, it's like I say, it was on like Twitter and all that kind of thing, and I watched the interview myself, and I think there's something else going on in the background with him. We don't know yet. It was shocking. He's done quite a lot for the league. I think he's became that kind of manager that you kind of possibly to love to hate type thing. You know, I think he's kind of close. He's made the league better. I said exactly the same about Mourinho. You know, when he first came to Chelsea, he made the league better. I was going to put something out there. I think that he's probably, in my opinion, a better manager than Pep Guardiola. I know the stats don't. I know the stats don't say that, but I think if you were to substitute, I think anybody could. I said exactly the same about Barcelona when Pep Guardiola was a manager. You could put me in a dugout, and they would just win games.
You get sent off.
I would get sent off. But I still think it really matters. In Man City, they've got all the millions and they've got all the players. They can put me in the dugout, they'll go and win the league. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I think Klopp can get a lot more out of players, younger players, and kind of, I don't know, mate. I think my opinion, I think he's a better manager than Pep Guardiola. Obviously, Pep Guardiola's went about to Munich. Again, Bayern Munich is like these clubs that, you know, would win the Bundesliga year on year. You don't get like 10 in a row or something like that. And it's just, again, put me in the dugout. They had all the good players. They had Lewandowski. They had, I don't know, the boy who went to Real Madrid. Can't remember his name now. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They had all the good players.
Cruz.
Tony Cruz. All the good players. He's just kind of the front of that, and he's like, oh, I think he's a lucky manager, Pep Guardiola. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think has got something to do with his managerial skills, right? Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's as good as people make out to be. I think he's overrated. I know that's bold, but I just think that he's a lucky manager.
You still have to get the players playing, though, don't you? I mean, I agree. I think he is overrated, Pep. I think even with the disgusting amount of money, and yes, disgusting amount of money, clubs like, you know, Man City, United, and teams like that have to throw at players is awful. But look at the amount of money Man United had. I don't think many teams have outspent them in the past few years, and they are horrendous in terms of what they've managed to put together. But I do agree to a point. In terms of probably Klopp is going to be a big loss, but anyway, so I just wanted to, yeah.
No, so I know I did.
Oh, that'd be a good soundbite for the promotion.
Yeah, it probably would be. So, are you wanting to add anything else into that, Sean, about Klopp?
Yeah, just in terms of, I think last season, I wasn't as shocked by the announcement. I think if he'd have gone if this had come in the middle of last season, I don't think many people would have been shocked because it was a rough season for them. But I do think Liverpool understood, because I didn't realise how long he'd been there. Like 9 years. It's been a long time. I just, you know, he's a proper staple for them, but I hadn't realised how long it was. Maybe with COVID seasons and stuff, we lost a few years there, really, didn't we? But
yeah.
But I think you know, I think he's got them to a position. He's done the opposite of Ferguson, where Ferguson left United and it was at a point where they needed a total rebuild. I think he stayed on for the extra season to get the team back to a point where he can leave them in relatively good shape. I think in terms of whether he's one of the greatest all-time managers, well, if he wins a fair few things this season, I think he's definitely up there. But I think Liverpool understood that they needed longevity. They needed to have and you don't get this in football much anymore because it's also knee-jerk now, but you do need that longevity to allow a manager to get in there. And yeah, if he'd have gone last season, he'd have had 8 years already booked. Well, 7, 8, whatever. But, you know, and to be fair, winning one of everything isn't to be snuffed at. You know, Liverpool really are looking what they've won before him. They were in the doldrums. They were absolutely nowhere really. And I think what also helped him, I think I'll agree with James, is that he or whoever said it, sorry, I can't remember, about, you know, he had a lot in the bank with Liverpool. He had a lot of goodwill there. I think he never worked his ticket. By what I mean by that, because I know it doesn't translate to all around the country, is that he never like started blaming other things. He never started saying, well, the fans are getting on the back or the refs are awful. He never worked his ticket in that respect, like you see some managers that are struggling do. And I think he's very likable. But I do genuinely think, who knows if there's stuff going on behind, but I do genuinely think if what he said is to be believed, and I don't think he'd lie, to be honest, I do think he's just knackered. And I think he's done 9 years and he's probably, like he said, because I watched that interview he gave, basically just saying, look, I can't do this at 50%. It's not fair on the people who come and pay the money to come and see it, and it's not fair on the players. And I thought, you know what, sometimes it's better, because if he has a good season and they win one or two things or as many things they're in for, and he stays for another season, it all goes sour. You know, maybe it's better and brave to go, you know, and brave. I mean, God, he gets paid enough. But, you know, in terms of going, you know, I think, you know, talking relatively with football terms, I think if he kind of says, look, I think this is the right time to go, you know, I think, you know, and I'm going to make a decision. Not quite sure why they've announced it now, because it seems a little bit like we're right in the middle. I know it was the back end of the season now, but yeah, I think he will be a loss for like English football, because I think he's always entertaining to listen to after the games, and you know, seeing his celebrations. I'm one of these people who likes to see a manager react, like, because I like to see that they actually care. I know some people think his antics are a bit much, but I do. Yeah, it's a shame. But, you know, he's done a good job for them, and I look forward to seeing what they do for the rest of the season.
100%. Gary, you got the final. Oh, sorry, Colin. Wait,
was there not I'm sure I read somewhere like the other day, since he was a player, he's only been unemployed for 6 months. So he's went from the team before Dortmund that I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to butcher it. So he's basically been at 3 clubs for however many years that is. With only like a 6-month gap since finishing his playing career. So you can kind of see how it'd be quite intense for him.
But I've left school and I've been working every day of my bloody life.
I knew you'd say something like that.
I'll take 6 months off.
I know. Plus he gets the winter break and that.
Ah, well.
I've got to be honest, if I was getting paid as much as him, I'd work myself into the ground. They'd have to take me out with a nervous breakdown. I've got to be honest. But no, you know, hey ho. I mean, you know, let's be honest. You know, you say he's knackered because he's not working 12 hours a day on a bloody, you know, NHS ward, is he? So perspective is beautiful sometimes. But I know what you mean in terms of football. You know, he's worked hard.
What about yourself, Gary? Final words on Klopp?
Yeah, one of the greats for me. I don't think the greatest, but I think if you're talking like top 6, 7, 8 managers without making a list, I'm pretty sure he would be in it. Because I think you remember, like for our kind of generation, like what he done for what he's done for Liverpool. Because you always heard about Liverpool winning everything in the 70s and 80s and things like that. But in my lifetime, I never expected, before Klopp arrived, I never expected Liverpool to win anything. Like, would they win the league? I know they won the Champions League in 2005 and did even win it another year, but I thought, I kind of still considered them sort of almost freaks or outliers, or I would never start the season like going like, I think Liverpool win the Champions League or win the league. But you know what I mean? Like, I didn't. It was unexpected, you would say. Whereas when Klopp came in, he got a Liverpool side that I probably would say I could see them winning any of those trophies, whether it be the Champions League in any given season, kind of thing. And I think so. He's kind of pulled them out a sort of 30-year rut almost, and I think to do that is it's a harder job, to James's point, than Guardiola taking over at Man City with all that money. And I think had he not been up against Man City with all that money and Pep Guardiola, who is, you know, I can see what you're saying, James, but I think he's really good at getting the best out of elite players, and his style of football really suits like players at that very, very top level. Had he not been up against that, you might be talking like 2 or 3 more like Premier League titles to that. And I know you can't count things that he didn't win, but I think in any other era, I think, you know, a slightly different era, you could be talking about 3-4 Premier League titles instead of one. Because I think there was like some seasons he was getting like 96, 97 points and things like that, and would have won it like virtually any other season. And City were getting more than that, which is crazy, really. And obviously a Champions League as well, and then he got to another final and stuff. So yeah, I think definitely one of the best managers in recent times. Probably hasn't won the trophies, Colin, like you say, that go along with how good he's been. I think some of the football that his Liverpool team have played is fantastic, and I think it'll be massive shoes to fill for anybody that comes in after this. I wouldn't actually be surprised to see Liverpool kind of struggle for a few seasons after it because of what Klopp's been for them. It's a massive void. But I hope they win the league this season. I think it would be a good way for him to end it. And I think, as Sean says, if he wins the league this season, then there's no doubt about it where he sits in the sort of greats. He's definitely up there. I said I don't think anybody would think he's number one, but I think he's definitely in the top 5, 6, something like that. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Klopp.
Nice. Can I make a final point on Klopp? Is that all right? It's a quick one, I promise. I think just adding on to what Gary was saying, and well, all of us really, I think, and I know we've mentioned Man United a lot, but it's just because they're a team that have just got so much going on, you can't help but read about it and get interested in it. I think they would kill for a Klopp. They would kill for 9 years of a manager who does for them what Klopp's done for Liverpool. They would they need that. They need someone to get on board and steady the ship. And I hope I think Liverpool will be left in a position where, you know, they might not hit the heights, but I think they'll still be in amongst it, maybe top 4. But you know, who knows? That's the joy of football. You never quite know what's going to happen. But that was it really. But I do think that's what they need. We'll see.
Oh yeah,
we don't have time. We don't have time to go into today in general, but I thought it'd be fun just to say who we think the manager will be, and we could always look back on this and see who we think. So, James, just first, our most prominent name that comes to mind. Who do you think will get the job next?
Xabi Alonso.
Okay, Paul.
Xabi Alonso.
This could be boring. Gary.
Alonso, it's got to be.
Sean.
I think they're going to come in for Michael Carrick. Got to be honest. No, I'm joking, but I'm going to say Michael Carrick just to keep it interesting.
I probably think Alonso as well, but I've heard Thomas Frank mentioned at Brentford, who's also German and might have a kind of similar potential impact, but maybe it's too big a jump. But I think it'll probably be Alonso as well.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I don't think that's a choice.
By the way, I don't think it will happen because Daniel Levy would just never allow it. And I think the timing
of a 5-year contract is on it.
Yeah, and Levy just would not entertain it, so it will not happen. But I think Ange would be great. And by the way, he would want to go as well because Ange, I think, has a bit of a soft spot for Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
I think his style of play and everything would be perfect for Liverpool. I think he's got the personality to take over from someone like Klopp as well. But I'm obviously a bit biased towards Ange, but I think he would be the ideal Liverpool manager.
Yeah, the front runners are Alonso, De Zerbi at Brighton, Pep Linders. I don't actually know who that is. Ruben Amorim, who's like the Sporting,
yeah,
and Julian Nagelsmann. They're the kind of top 5 front
Gerrard
runners at the betting.
Michael Beale.
Who the hell said Gerrard? I think you're joking.
Yeah, well, here's the question I was going to ask.
He's not a good manager.
If Gerrard was still at Rangers and had stayed at Rangers and had won a league, one more league or something like that, do you think he would have been in the running for it?
I think there's a good chance.
Yeah.
Not so sure, man.
And then he'll get found out.
Anyway, this was my fault, but we're tangenting, so we're moving on, right? James, you're counting this time. Paul, here's your challenge. Paul, yours is probably the easiest of the lot, to be fair.
Don't say that.
Can you name, or how many of the most picked players, so the players that played the most games under Klopp, can you name? So James will do the counting. So it's the 10 players that played the most games for Liverpool under Klopp.
Right, okay.
Right. Salah was 9th on 332 games.
That's one guess.
No, sorry, I'm talking nonsense. To forget the order. He's on the list. He played 300.
Is he near the top? Because I was quite surprised when you said
He's
90.
second. He's second.
Oh,
Sorry,
right.
I did it upside down at the start. Sorry, I was doing this late at night last night. So that's one.
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk is 9th on 248 games.
Henderson.
Henderson is 4th, 304 games.
God, I'm trying to remember Liverpool players now. But no, it's not. What's his name? It's not Fabinho, is it? Fabinho? Was that one? Fernandinho? One of those ones? Brazilian guy?
Which one? Pick one.
Fabinho.
Fabinho's not on the list, so that's one out. What's he on, James?
fifth guess coming up.
Robertson.
Robertson is 6th on 275.
Allison.
Allison is 8th on 252. That's your eighth guess coming up.
Aye. Oh God, I can't even think who plays them. Trent.
Trent is 5th on 298 games.
Hey, and who else plays now?
How many guesses you got left, James?
2.
Right. Who plays up front for Liverpool? I cannot remember who plays up front for Liverpool.
Don't tell him.
No. I'll go Matip.
No.
Damn it.
He was 11th, by the way. He was 11th.
One more guess.
There's a couple you'll kick yourself about retrospectively.
Probably, aye. Jota?
No.
Damn it.
Right, what did you get then?
I don't know. I'll just trying to.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that bit. I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got a respectable 6. So you're level with Gary.
I'll take it.
Right. So the ones you missed James Milner, who was 3rd, 323. You missed Gigi Wijnaldum. I can never say his name. He was 10th, 237 games. He was probably one that would be difficult to get. Bobby Firmino was 1st, 355.
Of course, Firmino.
And you missed Sadio Mane on 269, who was 7th.
Aye, I was too busy thinking the current squad and forgetting who they sold on.
So you did pretty well.
I thought Origi might be in there with about 300 sub appearances.
So I thought that was quite a topical one for the Klopp topic. Right, so it's over to James to close us out. This will be an interesting one.
Right, so my topic of choice for this Seismic Soccer episode is the transfer window. And basically, as the screen suggests, it's been quite a quiet one. And before I go into my own dark, deep realms of my own club, I'm just going to get your opinions on why do you think it's been quiet? Because there's been a lot of these kind of loan to buys. I think this has become the normal for a January transfer window. And I think we all know the reason why behind it, but it's just to get your thoughts why you think it's quiet. And then after that, we'll kind of talk about the deals that have went through. And I've kind of get the live kind of feed. There's like a Middlesbrough thing that's popped up as well. So it may interest Sean. He can give me a wee kind of discussion around that. But I'll come to you, Sean, first of all.
Cool.
Just because you're the guest in that. So what is your thoughts on the transfer window? Why do you think it's been quite a poor one and a quiet one so far?
Just for Middlesbrough or overall?
Overall, mate.
Yeah, I was going to jokingly say because they're all too busy fiddling FIFA fair play, but I am joking. Legal disclaimer: I am joking. No, I honestly, championship wise, probably. I mean, because everyone's trying to find decent defenders, quick midfielders, and a decent striker. And I think that's the majority of the league, apart from maybe Leicester. in terms of the Premier League, yeah, like you said, I think that they seem to be doing a lot of this loaning and a lot of stuff like that. I don't know, mate. It's to be honest, is my honest answer. I don't know. I really don't know. But it has been on you because all the years, like obviously taking out the COVID years, every other year, you're watching Sky and seeing where people are going and that kind of thing. And this year, just there hasn't really been anything happening. Like the only reason I know it's going on is because Middlesbrough, I've got players going out. So that's about it really. So it's I don't know. It's been a strange one.
So who is the player that went out from Middlesbrough today then? Was it Morgan somebody, did I read?
Yeah, Morgan Rogers has gone to Villa, which after being with us for 6 months, which to be fair, it's bittersweet because he had a bit of spark for the team and it felt like he had a couple of good appearances and some good assists, some good goals, but you could see there was talent there, but you can't not snap their hand off for the money they've offered. And we've also the interesting one though is we've sold I think it's Cal Kavanagh, sorry, and he's a lad who has been out on loan I want to say Port Vale and somewhere else off the top of my head. He's come from our academy and we thought he was like this rising star, and we've actually sold him, like properly sold him, to Bradford. And yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one because you wonder, like, well, who's going to come in? Who's going to come in with that spark? But we'll have to see. Outside of that, not many have crossed my radar in terms of who's coming. We're still waiting to see if we get a late deal, but I just think there's very little that happens in January anymore. Like there used to be some big deals, but sometimes now there's just not a lot there, is there? Like overall. And I think we don't have a lot to. We don't. Sorry, mate. That's my last part. Sorry, we don't have a lot to. I think Borough were we're in the Premier League for a long time. We're a founding member of it. I might have mentioned, and that's where we feel we belong. But with the way that football's gone, it's a billionaires game now, not a millionaires game. I don't think genuinely we can compete. We can't throw money at it. We just don't have the money. So I think we might be turning into that realm of kind of trying to get profit from players, and if we sell them and stuff. We did it with Tavernier, of course, not your Tavernier, our Tavernier. So I think we might be moving to that. It's a shame because you think, oh, we've sold them, but they've done well for us. But it's sometimes that's, unfortunately, I know we don't like thinking about football, but it's a business, and I think a Middlesbrough maybe where in financial terms we're probably about where we should be, I think, which and it pains me to say because you always want to get up into that top league and well, I would say compete, but it's not really like that anymore. 5 or 6 teams compete, the rest just scramble to stay up because football sold its soul to money. But let's not get depressed. I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one, but I don't know what's coming in. But I think if Borough get some of the we've had a lot of injuries, so if we get some of our players back. Trust in Carrick. I think we'll do all right. Hopefully, we'll have a nice strong end to the season. But I don't see any rumblings of anything coming through because, like I said, I'm not a massive. I love football. I love the Borough, but I couldn't go with facts. But I've got all my mates are kind of real football people across the board, and there's very little going on really. But it just seems like I don't know that you wonder if the ambition is to just consolidate this season and go again next season. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, January is such a hard window to get anybody in because how it is. I mean, if they're playing well, they're not going to sell the players, and if they're not playing, then you're buying a player who's not going to hit the ground running. You know what I mean? So it's a hard window anyway. Never mind we can't call it financial fair play anymore either. It's called the profit and sustainability rules. So we have to get with the proper terminology. So
I was only joking. I don't even know what it's called anymore. But...
No, it was just for Colin because he likes the financial fair play angle, so he does. But I think that's the reason why it's quiet. And
trust a Chelsea fan to defend that. Sorry, I'm only joking.
No, Chelsea's time will come when it comes to sustainability rules. Tell you that much. So I've just kind of thought the window has been quiet, you know, and there's nothing much going on our teams. I don't know. We'll come to your clubs in a wee second, Paul and Gary, and I'll discuss about Rangers in a second. But just to go on a wee different angle, January's been a kind of a poor window most of the time. But is there a memorable signing? It could be for your club, but it could be for any club that you thought, wow, they've signed a player in January. It's at Sky Sports or whatever, and it's been big money. Just so I want to just come to you for that. So I'll go with Paul first. So what is your?
Well, I don't know if this is a January signing or not, but was it? Mind when Tevez and Mascherano joined West Ham? Was that a January signing or was that?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was
like the second half, wasn't it?
The second half of the season, and that just totally brought them out the mire that they were in that season and managed to keep them up.
Yeah.
So that's one I remember just off the top of my head, just because it was like just so left field and it managed to work wonders. And then we've seen how their careers went on from that. But yeah, I'd probably say Tevez and Mascherano, to be honest. Morton wise, we don't really do January transfer windows, so yeah.
Do you do transfers in general?
We do sign old players that we released, like
Chris Templeman, yeah.
Oh, Chris Templeman, 100 grand in the Swanee, yes.
Yeah, Gary, what yourself, mate?
The one that I always remember is Robbie Keane to Celtic. That was a January one.
I used to like him.
Yeah, he's obviously a great player. It was too little, too late though, because we'd just been hammered 4-0 by St Mirren, and Tony Mowbray had been sacked, and Dermot Desmond, the Celtic majority shareholder, done his thing that he, you know, when we get humiliated like that, he kind of goes into his pocket and pulls something out. Much too late to do anything about the situation we're in. So didn't win the league, but it was, you know, when he signed, you were thinking like, wow, what a coup to get like someone like that in. So that's the one that I always remember. But
Gary, you got Roy Keane in January as well, didn't you? And Craig Bellamy, I recall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the couple would, they always, Keane joined in January, then we got beat off Clyde. Yeah,
there's a Middlesbrough link there, Tony Mowbray.
Yeah.
I'm going to provide another Middlesbrough link, Colin. I hear Kevin Thompson's a big fan of Robbie Keane.
Aye, that tackle, yeah.
That tackle. Also played for Middlesbrough as well.
Wait, one's that? Well, I got
Colin,
this wasn't a successful one in the end, but I got a Facebook memory yesterday of Aaron Ramsey signing. Actual memorable ones. A player I always liked. He was a bit wild, but remember Kyriakos signed in January, the year we won at Easter Road, and we also brought Barry Ferguson back. Was it the same window maybe? So they were quite big signings, and the likes of Davy Weir and the likes.
You said that there as if we'd never win at Easter Road. It's like the year we won at Easter
Road.
No,
the year we won the league. The year we won the league at Easter Road.
Oh, right.
Helicopter Sunday, but I didn't think Gary wanted to hear that phrase.
Never again.
Yourself, Sean, what is the kind of most memorable?
It's got to be
remember.
Oh, it's got to be last season. We had, was it Archer come in, and what's his face? You've just mentioned him, Ramsey. I think we had Ramsey. And was it both of them or just one of them? My brain's going. But yeah, last season.
Was that a different answer?
No, it must be the same one. I'm sure it is. Hang on a sec. Because anyway, we my mind's going. Well, yeah, last season we got a couple of loanees, and it was a hell of a transfer season for us. Transfer window, sorry, because we really kicked on from January. And you're hoping, that's the thing. Like when you have a good manager in, you know, you got Carrick in. There's always that hope that we might get a couple of loanees in and they might do the business for you. And I think that's always the glimmer of hope with January. But I think it can also sometimes be a bit of a death knell sometimes if you see your team, your team go for nobody and look very unambitious. The jury's out as to which way we've gone. But, at least Carrick seems to be a manager who, or with a team behind him as well, of course, who who would look at it and hopefully get people in. So fingers crossed we do all right.
Sean, does Carrick have a good? I'm assuming he has a good relationship with Manchester United after his success there. Is that something that you utilise in terms of like loan players or anything like that?
Well, my mate was talking about this, and he said to go for. Can't remember what he said. I wasn't saying Lindegaard, but I think I'm wrong. Hang on a sec. He said to go for somebody. I'll find out. He said we should go for them, and they said they want to stay. Anyway, I'll find out in a tick. But yeah, you do hope it's something that he can foster. And to be fair, if Ten Hag goes, would they rule out going for Carrick? I don't, because you can see what he's done with our squad and with the resources he's got. You think if he was given bigger resources, he and time, he could do it. But
it's not the worst. Yeah. It's not the worst shout.
I heard Rashford might be available soon.
Well, I mean, yeah, the nightclub scene's not that great in Middlesbrough, so I'm only joking. So
were nightclub scenes ever any good, apart from Berlin, Gary?
Less says about that, the better.
Krakow's pretty decent.
Right. Okay. So that's your memorable ones. So now let's move on to your own teams. I know we're kind of pushed for time here, guys, so I want to do this quite quickly. I'll come to yourself, Gary. I'm sure you've already just spoke about Middlesbrough. So, Gary, Celtic, talk to me about how you feel the transfer window's been.
A disgrace, an absolute disgrace. As was the last one. The last one was a total joke. We signed 9 players, only 2 had made any sort of impact. And even then, downgrades on who they replaced. I mean, the whole club when it comes to transfers is just an absolute joke, bordering on negligence. Actually, I would say. How can you come off the back of a treble, 2 Champions League campaigns in a row, £70 million in the bank, and come out of the summer transfer window weaker than you went into it, and then you get to January having allowed a title race to develop because there shouldn't have been one because we were so far ahead after the start of the season you had under Michael Beale. It shouldn't have mattered how well Clement done. We should have been out of sight, but we've allowed it to develop because we've dropped points, not been playing well. And we've somehow came out, unless I've missed something in the last hour since I've been on here, we've somehow come out the winter, the January transfer window, weaker again than when we went into it because we're apparently selling Turnbull card. So the strength and depth is there. So we've offloaded a few players that we had in the squad that aren't good enough, but we've not replaced them with anything other than Nicholas Kuhn as a winger and some guy from Norwich as a third choice striker who's only allowed to come to us because the striker we actually did want went to Norwich. So I mean, I just don't understand what's going on. It's I mean, I've got my issues with Rodgers this season. He's not got the best of a lot of players, but I think we've absolutely shafted him. I mean, I think our boards went over there and told him some amount of lies when they've been trying to get him to take the job when he was in Mallorca, and I just think the lack of ambition from our club with the money that we're making and that we've sold a lot of players over the last few years. Tierney 25 million, Jota 25 million. We had Frimpong 11 million in other sales. Edward was something like 16 or something like that. So we've made a lot of money and we're a well-run business in that respect, but there's just no ambition in the footballing side. And we go into the Champions League just to collect the check and get hammered. And they don't care about progressing. I think our club's only strategy is to stay. If they could guarantee staying 1 point ahead of Rangers every season, I think they'd take it. That's all they want. They don't want to go any more than that. And yeah, it's just frustrating. I mean, we've had some bad transfer windows, but this is possibly the worst one yet. It's just appalling. Like the lack of ambition, we just seem unable to get any deals over the line with any players that are going to improve the squad. Even though Rodgers has been asking for 4 quality players, we've just not even escaped the barrel. And then a squad's probably even worse. We signed a player in Gustav Lagerbielke in the summer. We're then trying to sell him in January, right? So I don't know what's happened there. But then Carter Vickers is now injured, so we've blocked it at the last minute after making it perfectly obvious he's not wanted. We're trying to sell him 6 months after we bought him, but now he's having to stay around and possibly having to play. It's just a shambles. It's absolute shambles, the Celtics transfer strategy. It's a terrible window for us.
Is Vickers injured again, aye?
Yeah, apparently he's picked up a knock. Hitati's just been injured. I don't know how bad that is at the age. So we're coming out of January. Even we're totally gambling the league, and I think it's absolutely. I can't understand why it's happening, because the Champions League, the new Champions League format next year, I think it's what, 50 or 60 million up for grabs if you qualify and play all the games, stuff like that. I don't know why we seem to be hellbent on risking that and gambling that. 'Cause like I say, after the start you guys had in the league, it shouldn't have been a title race, but we're in one now. We had to have a big January. We've utterly failed to do anything. We've not improved the squad. I don't think Kuhn might turn out to be a good winger. Got plenty of wingers. Wasn't really a position that was a priority. We've needed a new left back for ages. We know that Taylor's a bit of a weak link, but even at that, there's no backup to him either. We know there's everybody on the bench isn't good enough. Bernaby's not good enough. Needed a new keeper we've known it for 18 months. Possibly a new right back, possibly a striker as well. We're a Kyogo injury away from having to play and no one's quite sure if he's good enough. But all we come up with is the Norwich third choice striker. It absolutely makes no sense. I don't know what we're trying to do. I don't understand why we can't. I mean, I don't think anybody's expecting us to pay £10 million, £15 million for players, but we can do a lot better than we're doing. Yeah, it's shocking. I think we're the most bizarre club, and certainly in Scotland, when it comes to how we handle transfers, considering the money we've got. I think we could be doing way more than we are, and there just seems to be no appetite from the board to do it. So I think the majority of the Celtic fans, and it's weird because we're sitting top of the league, but I go to the games and the atmosphere is not good. There's frustration, there's anger, I think we were an Old Firm defeat in December away from it going completely toxic, and I think that's just kept it at bay for now. But it's a lot of unhappy Celtic fans at the moment with how the club's been run and how Rodgers has been backed, and I wouldn't be surprised if he chucks it as well, if I'm honest.
Okay. Colin, with yourself, you want to take the reins on the Rangers thing? Are you quite happy how things are going?
Well, no. I think we all agreed we wanted a striker in. We also got a winger in. I know forgotten his name already. The Colombian boy.
Cortez.
Yes. I think he's down as right wing, but he's apparently quite fluid in what positions he can play. I don't know a lot about him, but he seems to be quite high. He's capped by the Colombian first team, so hopefully he's got a slightly better temperament than Morelos anyway. So be interested to see how he gets on. The other boy from the Ivory Coast, Diomande, he seems quite highly regarded. Touted as like the best one of the best players in the Danish league, quite highly regarded. Not capped for the first team Ivory Coast, but for under 21s. So he's like a kind of left centre mid, but can play like in the attacking roles. I don't know what I thought about Silva. He's not really done much yet, but there's obviously talent there. So I think the players we brought in are not bad. I think we really needed that kind of centrepiece striker, which I think we all know who we thought that would be. Bear in mind, there's still 35 minutes left of the transfer window when we're recording this, so you never know. But I have heard that that's it done. So I think midfield's looking a bit stronger in the wings with the recent additions, but with Sima out and no real backup after Dessers and Silva, then I think it's not absolutely terrible, although it is interesting how there are all kind of loans to buy. But I suppose if there are any total flops, then even if it is an obligation to buy, maybe there's a way to worm out of it. Kind of similar to what Bayern did with the Tillman deal last year.
Mm-hmm. So I think that it's pretty the loan to buy is a good business, to be honest with you. So you can get like a kind of see what they're like in 6 months, and then you can buy them for good money. The young players, and then what we can do is sell them on. That's the model where to go down. So I think that's good business. I think where I think that the transfer window for Rangers has been a disgrace is the striking department. We currently have one striker in Dessers, and he's not good enough for me. I know he's scored a couple of goals here and there, but he's not good enough. We've got Roofs, who is constantly injured. He can't be relied on enough. We've got Danilo, who's out for the season. Sima, who was our top goal scorer, came back injured. And we've got one striker, Fabio Silva's no number 9, no in the Winter Sundays. He's technical, but he's not going to be a target man and be able to kind of run off the shoulder. He's not. I've seen enough of him that he's not that kind of player. We needed somebody who could actually is a proven goal scorer. That was Shankland. For Rangers, I think they are turning their nose up at Scottish players. I think they're too good to sign these players. It's either that or waiting till the summer until we can get them for cheaper. Because we've got the money coming in for season tickets and shirt deals and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. You said the word negligence, Gary. It's severely negligent for Rangers to do this. To the point where I think this is a deal breaker for us winning this league. Because you can't rely on Dessers, I'm sorry. He's not good enough. And again, he's an injury away for playing Cantwell up front. Do you know what I mean? That's and that's not good enough, man. It's shocking, so it is. And if we lose this league, lose the Europa League, and lose the Scottish Cup, then the board have got to have some answers for this, because it's not good enough.
Okay. The thing is, as well, Shankland's a massive Rangers fan as well, so you got to assume he would have walked to Ibrox if you said. I'm quite surprised he didn't sign Shankland, because I think like that could have been a league clincher for you, the way he's scoring goals at the moment.
Aye, I'm sure he would walk to Ibrox, but Rangers won't pay the money enough for it. Do you know what I mean? So it's annoying. I don't know, man.
I think he'll sign at some point. I think January would have been ideal, but I think he probably will be here within the next year, I would have thought.
Aye, but then it's too late, isn't it? For the Rangers, the pillars, the 4 pillars I'm talking about in one of them is about the transfers, that kind of make sure they're getting good money for them. I know he's getting 30-year-old, but surely that's a gamble for us to go when we get the money back. But still.
Then he'll go to the Euros and score a bagload of goals, and then somebody in England will snap him up.
Well, that's it. Do you know what I mean? So that's the gamble. That is it. So, and that's what will happen, mate. I'm telling you, it's the most Rangers like today.
Middlesbrough for a cheeky bid.
I think we definitely needed a striker, and I'll agree with that. It's a bit strange that if they weren't getting Shankland, that they didn't just get another loan in, or
the loan Rangers.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
Middlesbrough have done nothing by the looks of it. I've had a look, and obviously the window's literally just closed. And yeah, I've just been checking the local, and it looks like nothing's gone our way. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see.
Anyway, that was I know time's kind of marched on, guys, so I don't want to keep too long, so I'll probably stop it there.
Martin, you got anything, Paul?
Does anyone care?
Of course.
We got a Welsh boy on a pre-contract, which I think they're pretty excited about. His name is Jordan Davies. He plays for Connah's Quay Nomads, but he's in 44 appearances, he scored 24 goals and had 3 assists. I think this is someday our manager, Doug Emery, actively went out to really want to buy. And so I think it's been quite a coup for the club to get him on a pre-contract. So I think he has quite a lot of interest in him from other lower tier clubs. So he's about the only one, and Lewis Strapp re-signing because he was quite integral to our recent success, I think. So that's the only 2 signings I think are worthwhile for Morton.
Morton win the window.
Yep.
Yeah.
James, you know what might cheer you up just before we go off? Do you want to do your challenge, or do you want to leave it?
No, I'll do the challenge.
I'd love to be so depressed discussing my team win challenging for a title. I'll tell you that. I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
To be fair, I was holding back. By the way, I was.
Oh no, we know you are. I've seen you in the group chat.
Don't hold
Right,
back,
James.
James.
You can probably guess yours is transfer related. So I messed this up. I started looking at it. I wanted to get the values in pounds. So these aren't in the right order, but you're just looking for the 10 players, like their names, that are in the top 10 biggest transfers of all time.
Bonus point for how much they cost.
And Gary, you're on the counting this time.
Right, so what about I count? How many guesses?
Count how many guesses he has. Right. You don't need to get the value. If you get the value, that'd be cool. But it's more the name of the player.
The top 10.
Top 10 most expensive transfers of all time.
Jesus Christ, man. I can't think here. I don't know.
Coutinho was 105 million, so that's one.
Oh,
I'm off the mark, man.
That was Liverpool to Barcelona.
Aye. Let me think, man. Neymar.
Yep, Neymar, Barcelona to PSG, 198 million, which is ridiculous. I don't like Neymar.
Jeez, was that how much it was?
Oh, 198 million pounds, yeah.
Just been sick in my mouth.
So that's two.
Ooh. Van Dijk.
Nope.
Bastard. Cut that
Chelsea. Chelsea.
I know.
French.
Right.
I really
Stop it, all of you.
I can't think, man. Under pressure.
Do you want to open it up to the team, or you want to go yourself?
No. It's easy when you're on the hot seat, isn't it? Chelsea players. Come back up. How 10? Still 10 years. The last 10 for Chelsea. That's like Pulisic.
Nope. What's that, Gary?
So 4 guesses.
So you've got 2 out of 4, or 2 points from 4 guesses.
The Ronaldo, where did he went to? Real Madrid to Juventus. Was that the free?
Is that a guess?
No, it's the free transfer, I'm sure. Chelsea, like Torres.
Nope.
Must be like
Was he not like 50 million when he went to Chelsea?
I know.
Recent Chelsea. Recent Chelsea.
What did they go for, but?
Eminem? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm totally. I'm too tired for this, mate. To be honest with you.
Sounds like a race car. Sounds like a race car.
Nkunku.
No. What's that, Gary?
6 guesses.
You got 4 left. Do you want to take them or call it?
Oh, I'll keep going, man. Give me team. Do Chelsea, man. Under pressure here.
Man City, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid.
I know,
Inter Milan.
Totally.
Benfica.
Who's the boy? Okay. Who's the boy from Shakhtar? Okay, with Chelsea.
Mudryk.
Aye.
He's not in the list.
Again. I'm too tired for this. You should have taken me first, man.
Right. Do you give up then?
Aye, yeah, man.
Paul, James, Paul, Gary, Sean, I want to make any guesses?
Griezmann.
Griezmann is, 107 million, Atletico to, I can't read that, Barcelona, I think.
I was going to say Enzo Fernandez.
Yep, Enzo Fernandez, Benfica to Chelsea, 107 million.
I couldn't get one. Was it into Chelsea? Was it into Chelsea? Or out of Chelsea?
Who talking about?
Well, I
Fernandez is the one I was just gonna go.
was
Right,
thinking
so
Mason Mount.
you missed Mbappe, 163 million.
That's what I was going to say. Mbappe,
PSG.
yeah, I was.
Felix,
Moises Caicedo, no, is he in it?
Moises Caicedo was he was on it. Yep, 100 million.
Was it 100 million?
Was
Felix.
what's his fit?
João Felix.
Who was the lad who played for United up front? With the long hair. What was his name?
Ireland.
No.
Ireland.
The other lad.
Falcao.
Cavani.
Right.
Anyway, I don't
Right, so
Yeah.
basically, Neymar, Mbappe, Coutinho, which we've had, Felix,
Declan Rice.
Fernandes, Griezmann, Declan Rice, yep, 100 million, Jack Grealish, 100 million, and
Oh.
Lukaku, 98 million, Inter to Chelsea.
It's too
there
late
you
to do that. To be fair, James, it's too late, mate. I'm letting you off that one. It's too late.
Excuses.
Right, I am going to head
Right.
off. So
Cool, right, so just finish off there. So that's where you can follow us on social medias. That's where you can listen to us. So make sure you like and subscribe and share. And yeah, I just want to thank Sean for coming along and joining us. And I know you're not a fan of plugging your podcast, but it's up to you whether you do or not.
Yeah, Twitter @yourselfreview. What's the other one? Instagram Review Yourself Podcast 2021. Go over there and have a listen. If you like films, yeah, that's about it. Cheers for having me on. I've really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, Sean, thanks for coming on.
No problem at all.
And yep, we'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys.
cheers. Cheers later,
Thanks,
man.
bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.